trying to finish up this 65 AC30 and had 3 remaining issues and then one question for the owner. I've addressed 2 of the issues. Number 1, both the original volume pots for the normal and brilliant channels were bad, and it had bad leakage. Even with the volumes off, you could hear it quite a bit. When you have leakage in an amp, that also can mean things get unstable. You can get crosstalk, intermodulation distortion, all kinds of stuff. That's been resolved both through replacing those pots and very carefully moving the lead dress around on the normal channel. So here's the normal channel with no bleed. Bring it up, works just fine. I need to find new things to play in these videos. I'm just kind of on autopilot on them. I'm not really playing. And if I were to like play a whole song, you know, might get flagged for copyright and taken down. So here's the brilliant channel. And all that is cool at low volumes. Now, the last time I played this amp in that little video from the other day, there was, oh, there goes some paper. There were some high-end fizzies that were happening at various gain levels. And the amp also wanted to oscillate if I cranked everything on the brilliant channel, I mean everything really high up. So I'm going to see if that lead dress change and the wiring changes I've done have addressed that oscillation. That's why this video is using the phone mic rather than the lav mic, because this would clip the lav mic. And I'm doing everything full up, worst case scenario. All right, it's not whistling there. Do I dare do the guitar? It sounds awful with everything all the way up, which is not any way that anyone would ever play this thing, but it's not oscillating. So with more typical settings, this is the cranked top boost brilliant channel. Aggressive on the high end. Let me back that down a little bit. Well, I gotta say, I think I got it. Now, if you look at the previous videos on this, and I'll put some links at the top and links in the description, and this thing's in a playlist, you can hear how awful this amp was when it came in. So where we're at now, even though the noise floor is not as low as I would like in a modern amp, for a 65 it's really good, and the amp is now stable. And that stability was really more a matter of going in here and being very intentional with the lead dress. Vox just has everything just kind of crammed together, and so the wires coming to and from volume pots are kind of running parallel with each other and tucked up against each other, and that's not always the best thing to do. So it doesn't look as neat to have the wires like that with all the separation, but it sure sounds better. It's like that Deluxe with all the very beautiful wiring where everything was just perfect at right angles and parallel with each other. That's not actually what electrons want. Electrons is what plants crave. completion's sake, while we have it here, let's go to the tremolo channel, the vibe trim channel. Down upon the ocean, crimson and clover. All right, that's sounding good. So I'm really pleased with this, and you'll probably get a final playing test of this amp before it goes to its owner, because it's a beautiful thing, and it deserves better than the phone audio for this little thing now that the last of the fizzes have been removed. Let me show you, I'm actually showing the owner the question I have. This question is for the owner, but it is something that you guys are welcome to be a part of. YouTube is fun. All right, this is the business end where the connections are made. The foot switch connections are made here where this blue wire is, and that you can just see the output transformer connections, these little screw-in terminals. And the wires from the speakers just pass through here and are screwed into here. And the cable going from the foot switch just goes through here and is soldered directly there. And they're semi-permanent attachments. The owner wanted to know if that could be made with jacks, and there are a couple ways I could do that. One option would be for me to take a standard long frame jack and screw it through there, but because the panel is this is not quite long enough even with a longer bushing, I would need to do recesses, so this whole thing would sit down maybe 1/8 of an inch to poke out. That's a lot of wood removal. I can do that. I have the right bit to do that. Larger hole, just going down a little bit. My preference, if we're going to do a jack here, would be to use these, which are what people are familiar with like Kramer electric guitars or acoustic end pen jacks. And these require a very simple hole in the wood panel, and are very unobtrusive from the outside. And you'd have a little bit excess length in there, but that wouldn't hurt anyone, and it wouldn't contact anything. So that is something I could do. I already have these I ordered for this. If we don't end up using them, I won't charge you because I'll have other uses for them down the road. The other two options are I could just have the cables come out of here and go to a plug which just has a female end on it. It's basically this same thing with a barrel with some shrink wrap that attaches to a cable. So these would just hang down, and one would be your speaker connector, one would be your foot switch connector. And they could either just hang down in the cabinet and not secured to anything, or you could secure them to the side panel with the little cable clamps like we use for reverb tank wires and stuff. And the third option is I have the cables coming out of here with 1/4-inch jacks at the end, 1/4-inch plugs at the end rather, and we make a little box about the size of a stomp box, maybe 4x2, that has various jacks on it. So the cables from the speaker and tremolo connections inside the amp go to that box, and there are jacks on that box that you plug the internal speakers to, or you could plug external speakers if you wanted to. We could have the 8 ohm and the 16 ohm available, and the foot switch would go to, and that box would then be screwed to the side wall of the cabinet. So of the options, this is the most intrusive as far as drilling holes in an original slider board from 1965. At the end of the day, it is a piece of plywood from 1965 painted black. Given that other things in the amp are no longer original because they had to be changed, nothing here was changed that wasn't necessary. I don't think that would devalue the amp, really, but I'm not a collector and I don't keep up with that market. So to the owner, if you'd like these here, that's the simplest, least expensive way to do it, followed by just having the connectors hanging down. Not as elegant, but it works. Or we could do with a goes into, goes out a box that you would screw to the side wall of the cab, which would leave this unmolested, but that is the most expensive because we've got, 10, 15 bucks for the box, then twice as many jacks, et cetera, et cetera. So let me know what you think, because I don't want to do anything on this until you greenlight it. Thanks.